Welcome to the movie Speeching. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take good care. Mutant Chronicles is the name of the movie. 10,000 years ago, at the end of the Ice Age, a device came to Earth from outer area to exchange humanity into mutants. A warrior called Nietzsche united all the historic tribes, and collectively they sealed the machine deep underground. Afterward, Nietzsche's descendants shaped an order in Eastern Europe to preserve the knowledge of the gadget alive in myths and inside the sacred ebook of the Chronicles. However, through the 12 months 2707, humans have forgotten about the gadget and Earth's herbal assets had been exhausted. The arena is now managed with the aid of 4 agencies that preserve going at war towards every other to advantage manage of the few last sources. In Europe, the Bauhaus organization is getting ready for any other struggle against the capital business enterprise, unaware that they're preventing within the vicinity wherein the system become buried. Bauhaus Commander Steiner orders his guys to maintain on bombarding the enemy with artillery, while Capital Commander Nathan reminds his group to be brave and now not surrender. But the mood inside the capital facet is pretty low because they've already lost heaps of squad guys and their possibilities aren't superb. Sergeant Mitch takes the dog tags of every fallen man, determined to honor their memory. At that moment, Bauhaus sends out their tanks, so Capital fires back with a massive cannon. Some other fight starts and the resulting explosions monitor the spot under which the system is buried and even cracks the hatch, but nobody notices. Bauhaus responds with grenades and poison gasoline that quickly spreads into the Capital trenches, at once poisoning all of the squad guys who don't control to place on their masks speedy enough. Soon the Bauhaus soldiers break into the Capital trenches, killing every soldier in sight. Mitch is nearly killed too, however Nathan saves him on the last 2 deed by way of taking pictures the attacker. They do not want to surrender and fast start combating lower back. Every other huge explosion happens and the roof of the cave with the machine ultimately starts off evolved to crack till it collapses. An ordinary creature crawls out of the resulting hole and runs to the nearest soldier to take him down. Quickly greater mutants start crawling out of the hole and assault the Capital trenches, obliterating most of the squad guys in seconds. When the Bauhaus advance into that place, they're surprised to look the massacred bodies, and the mutants take advantage in their distraction to attack them as well. In the meantime, Nathan and Mitch are sneaking around to live to tell the tale. They don't see the mutants, so after they discover they are bodies and their comrades, they assume Bauhaus did it. In the end, Nathan comes throughout Steiner and they blame every other for the present day scenario, so a knife combat ensues. They barely get to move before soldiers from each facet surround them. Mutants keep to come out of the hole and use the sword-like hands to kill each soldier in their path. Finally, taking notice of the monsters, Nathan and Steiner agree to team up and each armies open fire against the creatures. In the struggle, Jesus gets severely wounded. Luckily, an evacuation plane quickly arrives, so Nathan grabs a system gun and runs off to distract the mutants while the survivors retreat competently. Mitch manages to carry Jesus to the aircraft and watches in horror how Nathan runs out of ammo and is surrounded using the monsters. Someday later, the news of the mutants' launch reaches the Order of Nietzsche. The chief brother Samuel and a silent nun named Severine visit the monastery's secret room to test the Chronicles of Mutants, hoping it's going to tell them the way to wreck the device. The ebook says that mutants convey injured and undead human beings to the system to turn them into monsters, and no army in the global can defeat them due to the fact they're too robust. But the book also predicts that there's a delegated one that could be capable of break the device. Then Samuel organizes a meeting with the leaders of the 4 groups to talk about the scenario. The mutants have taken over most of the huge cities, so that they suggest to evaluate humanity to Mars. However, Samuel points out they don't have enough spaceships for all of us. He's additionally positive that the mutants are smart enough to comply with them. Samuel thinks a higher plan is to send a crew to the cave and wreck the gadget. However, the business enterprise leaders maintain to argue and can't agree on a decision. Beneath the unstoppable mutant assault, lifestyles in towns is getting worse each day and evacuation quickly begins, but it is not possible to take care of every person, much like Samuel expected. The monsters kill any soldiers that try to protect the streets, and families are cut up if they don't have enough evacuation tickets for all of us. Once in a while, the explosions, which are alleged to reach the monsters, bring down the evacuation ships as properly, killing each civilian inner and the monsters that it crashes on the same time. In non-public, one of the leaders tells Samuel that he can't fly to Mars because of his poor fitness, but he's nonetheless determined to help. He offers Samuel his ship and evacuation tickets to appeal to volunteers for the task, using promising their household will get away. After Samuel leaves with the office work, the mutants surround the chief and quick kill him too. Inside the meantime, Mitch is going to visit Nathan's own family to deliver the awful information. Nathan's wife has a breakdown, not understanding a way to shield her daughter because they weren't chosen for evacuation. Mitch comforts her the high quality he can, but he feels useless. Inside the night, Mitch is going to a bar and dips his teammates' dog tags in whiskey whilst he receives under the influence of alcohol. At that second, he's approached by Samuel, who asks Mitch to enroll in the challenge. Before everything, Mitch refuses. However, he adjusts his thoughts when Samuel offers him the tickets. The next day, Nathan's spouse is making ready a few poison as she considers ending things for herself and her daughter to avoid becoming sufferers of the mutants. However, Mitch arrives simply in time and offers her the tickets to escape. Sometime later, Samuel gathers a small group of fierce warriors who have agreed to join the venture to talk about the plan. They'll need to undergo a chain of underground tunnels and plant a special bomb within the middle, which need to be activated with a key that should be within the machine, but they aren't positive. Samuel thinks the selected one is in the crew and will resolve the issue whilst the time comes. Then Steiner takes the organization to a mobile where the army has locked up a mutant to train the others a way to kill it. Severian demonstrates her terrific capabilities to kill the mutant whilst Steiner makes a list. A phosphorus bomb, gunfire, or a sword aiming at the right spot will do the trick. As the mutant dies inside the demonstration, Mitch thinks he saw the creature turn human for a second earlier than it stopped. In a while, the group gathers guns and resources and gets geared up to move. Before boarding the aircraft, they obtained a hard and fast of sacred swords. The airship shakes pretty lots, but manages to take off appropriately. All through the flight, the group stalks tails approximately the loved ones they gave the tickets to. Abruptly, they notice a civilian deliver coming proper at them, so they are trying to touch them to ask them to change path, but there's no answer. It turns out the civilian plane has been hijacked through mutants, so Samuel's organization opens fireplace at them. After a few failed photographs, they lose music of the enemy deliver within the clouds, most effective for their personal vehicle to unexpectedly get hit with a big explosion. The plane catches on fireplace and the team is pressured to run to the getaway pod, which is caught and gained detach. The pilot is severely injured and makes use of the manual lever together with his ultimate breath, allowing the breakout pod to ultimately cross free. The parachute is released to assist with the touchdown, but the tablet is too heavy and the parachute quickly breaks. The capsule starts off evolved, falling at a totally dangerous velocity, and the group argues about whilst to open the backup, most effective for the capsule to all of a sudden crash right into a constructing. After going through, the team opens the spare parachute and the tablet lands in an open field. Anyone is first rate besides for the captain, who has been stabbed with the aid of a big piece of shrapnel and may be saved. Mitch gives him a grenade, and as the institution walks away, they hear the explosion that kills the captain. Moments later, the group finds itself crossing a metropolis occupied by mutants, so that they flow as carefully as possible. However, Mitch notices that the evacuation right here isn't going well because squad guys are soliciting for loopy amounts of money to let people board and hit those who bitch. Furious, Mitch makes his mana through the group to confront the infantrymen, and when they decline to cooperate, he kills one among them. The other soldier is terrified and lets in each civilian to get in free. Then Mitch returns to the team, only for Steiner to scold him for placing the undertaking in jeopardy. Following a map from the ebook, the organization keeps going, and in the evening they attain a deserted church. In step with the Chronicles, there are mystery tunnels below that could take them to the gadget. They input the church with the aid of decreasing themselves through the roof with a few rope and are creeped with the aid of all the non-secular statues, no longer to say the thousands of bones in every corner. Following the Chronicles, they pass the catacombs and finally find the lost city of the ancients. In keeping with the ebook, the elevator shaft will take them to the tunnels, meaning now they need to rappel 60 memories down. First, Kim Woo sets up a foothold on the pinnacle to offer cover from the elevator cabin, then the crew secures the rope and starts off evolved the descent. Shifting carefully, they reach the distance referred to inside the book, however they don't see any front. Samuel decides to seek advice from the Chronicles and gets so distracted that he slips and falls. Mitch tries to grab him, but the chain breaks and Samuel falls. Fortunately, it's not a protracted fall and Samuel is high quality, however there are tons of mutants awaiting them. Mitch jumps down to shield Samuel with bullets and flames, ultimate the elevator door to advantage some time. Steiner hears the noise and throws a grenade, which Severian catches just in time and throws into the hollow below so Samuel gained get harm. The noise reasons greater mutants to come out, and when the relaxation of the institution joins Samuel, a vicious fight starts off evolved. They combat as many mutants as they could, however they're glaringly overpowered, so the team tries strolling to the following room. The mutants immediately chase after them and corner them. At the pinnacle, Kim Woo furiously fires his system gun, killing as many mutants as possible until he runs out of ammo. Then the mutants climb into the elevator to assault him, so Kim Woo shoots a few fireplace and cuts the rope, causing the cabin to start falling. Kim starts off evolved combating with his swords, however changes to his gun till he gets the mutant's knife arm and kills it with its very own limb. At the bottom, the group is geared up to go down by way of fighting with their swords, but in the meantime the cabin crashes on top of the horde. Some other explosion happens, but now not all of the mutants are useless yet. The crew gets ready to keep on fighting till Kim's hand emerges from the rubble and activates a grenade, which kills all of the remaining mutants and Kim as well. After taking a second to pay respects to Kim, the group maintains their journey. Samuel checks the chronicles once more, which annoys Mitch due to the fact he doesn't apprehend what can be so unique approximately a book. Samuel tells him to have confidence and pours a few water on the ground, which falls 2 little holes that ultimately monitor the entrance to the tunnel. The institution quick crosses it to attain every other room, in which they carefully walk on an area against the wall while watching the monsters beneath them. The mutants are dragging wounded people to the gadget, and Mitch is stunned to look Nathan most of the sufferers. Steiner can guess Mitch will want to save him and orders him to stay, but Mitch leaves anyway. Then Steiner considers shooting him to stop him, but he can't deliver himself to do it, and as a substitute maintains on transferring with the others. Mitch climbs down and sneaks around to shoot a stalactite, which kills the mutant that is dragging a very vulnerable and bleeding Nathan. Then the buddies in the end reunite and Mitch carries Nathan to safety. Nathan asks approximately his own family, so Mitch tells him they're on Mars. Now that he is aware of his wife and daughter are excellent, Nathan can die in peace, so he tells Mitch to leave him and end the venture. Sooner or later, accepting his pal is in deep pain, Mitch decides to position him out of his misery. In the meantime, the rest of the crew makes it to a slim bridge, which they have to cross as quietly as feasible to keep away from alerting the mutants underneath. Unexpectedly, a pebble falls, and while everybody turns around to check, Steiner slips and falls, slightly handling to hold on at the remaining second. His yelling gives away their presence to the mutants. Steiner's the one carrying the bomb, so Severian cautiously hangs on the edge to take it from him before Steiner falls to the lowest, wherein he's attacked with the aid of the mutants. As Steiner opens fireplace and attempts his excellent to shield himself, Samuel thinks they must go away him and keep on with the project, but the others refuse and leap in to assist him. A vicious struggle starts off evolved because the team fights the monsters with all their may. However, there honestly are too many mutants and it's not possible to head in opposition to one of these huge army. Every member of the group gets badly wounded, and alas, Samuel is killed. An explosion additionally burns one and all them down. Then the mutants drag all the bodies to the device. Minutes later, Mitch arrives and is devastated to locate Jesus' dog tag. Suddenly, he's attacked via a mutant, which he fast kills off way to a caution from Severian. The nun had control to hide, and that caution became the primary time she spoke in years. After she shares what took place, Mitch choices up any portions he can locate of the ebook and asks her to read it that will know in which to move subsequent. However, it turns out Severian can't read it. She simply has faith in it. Livid, Mitch decides to go to the center of the cave besides and improvise. The duo advances till they discover the mutant lair and right now sets up an explosive even as looking how their teammates are dragged to the device. The explosive blocks the front and kills a few mutants off, so Mitch can run to release Valerie and Steiner. Then Mitch looks in the pit inside the center of the cave, finding a strange mechanism with human beings attached to it. Seemingly it turns people into mutants after a whole rotation. Severian and Valerie tie themselves with a rope and head down to the heart of the machine even as Mitch and Steiner hold them from above. Quickly the mutants start breaking via the rock pile at the entrance, so Steiner leaves Mitch to deal with the rope by himself and is going to confront the monsters. With one final salute, he activates a grenade and is going down as he kills all the mutants within the manor. The burden of the rope is an excessive amount for Mitch to handle alone, and he's dragged to the brink of the pit until he falls. The women fall too and land effectively, however Mitch ends up in the mechanism, which turns on to hold him down. Mitch gets exposed to radiation and a mechanical arm inserts numerous chips in his frame. The ultimate chip is meant to enter his head, so Mitch continues bending his neck to keep away from it. The device misses and breaks the bindings rather, so Mitch is free to grab his gun and destroy the mechanical arm. Then Mitch joins the girls and makes use of a knife to cast off the chips. His face remains a piece mutated, but he in no way goes full monster. The group subsequently reaches the heart of the machine, and whilst Mitch prepares the bomb, Severian and Valeria fight off the monsters that come from both aspects. Mitch doesn't understand the device well and mate bet which hollow the detonator goes in, so he has to parent out the few ebook pages he has. Severian looks after some more monsters but freezes when she sees a mutated Samuel method her, but she reacts while Samuel attacks her and forces herself to combat him. On the alternative end, Valerie kills one more mutant yet falls within the procedure, so her body receives cut in with the aid of the spinning tool. Mitch takes over her spot and fights the alternative monsters while urging Severian to kill Samuel. However, she will be able to convey herself to try this to her precious mentor, and Samuel stabs her before pushing her off. Later on, Samuel and Mitch start fighting hand to hand. They alternate some hits before Mitch manages to push Samuel to the ground and begins punching him with his team's canine tags. Samuel pushes him off and Mitch falls after a page from the ebook and a sword. Seeing them collectively makes him recognize the sacred sword is the key, so he right away uses it to stab Samuel and inserts it inside the system at the equal time. The hatch on the ceiling opens and the shape starts shaking, so Samuel tells Mitch to do a bounce of faith. After some hesitation, Mitch jumps down and falls into an underground river. Whilst he resurfaces, he watches the gadget take off, flying off into space to ultimately go away away Earth for exact. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.